And let's make a start. All right, standing up. Let's have a nice big full body morning stretch, reach for the ceiling. And we can do so much good for the body. If we just think about finding areas we can decompress, you know, we end up with lower back issues, all the joints, everything ends up compressed if we don't take time to really lengthen out. So let's just take a moment to be the longest we could be, really stretching, so into the fingers, releasing the shoulder, lifting the ribs out to the pelvis, little space in the knees, and actually press into the balls of the feet to get more of a lift up the body. So we are taking a little bit of a side stretch here by this climbing action through the fingers, and then we're going to move to focus on the head next. So let the arms float down, just semicircles with the head, right ear to right shoulder. I'm mirroring here, brushing across the chest and gently to the other side. Keep the jaw nice and soft and back again. Lovely. We'll lift the shoulders to support the neck and drop the head back. Again, soft jaw, massage the back of the neck. Nice little crunchy, squeezy rub in the back of the neck. And then we'll just shrug out the shoulders. And then focusing directly on the shoulders. Try to lead back with the humeral head, the top of the arm bone, taking the arms forward, still letting the arms dangle. And then the arms back, again, leading with the top of the arm. So feel that squeeze between the shoulder blades. Just work between this protraction, retraction of the shoulders, taking the arms forwards and backwards. And then as you go, let's start to take out that excessive curve in the lower back. There's a tendency to stick the bottom out here. Let's try to maintain a more neutral lower spine, and we'll come on to that again later. You can start to add on the head, so as we broaden across the chest, you can drop the head back if that's comfortable for your neck, and then slowly chin to chest as the arms come forwards. Last one like this, and then we'll go for an elevation and depression of the shoulders, hopefully finding a little bit of softening release in the shoulders, shoulder blades. So coming to a nice open position in the chest, shoulders back and down. Let's keep that bottom tucked, arms back and gliding as if you're against a wall, gliding the shoulder blades up towards the ears and then down towards the waist. Let's hand on the breath. Breathe in and glide. So you feel here, and that's this lifted position, the tops of the shoulder blades to come together, and as we lower the mid shoulder blades and the lower shoulder blades, really feel that length right down to the fingertips. So keep going in this lifting and lowering position. Feel like all the rotator cuff muscles and the shoulder blades coming together and gliding down. Breathing in as we lift and breathing out to lower. We're going to go on to circling now. So if we roll the shoulders in, so the shoulder blades separate, lifting forwards, up, externally rotate, chest open and shoulders back and down. So really exaggerated, big, but slow movement. Chin can come to the chest as we round, so we start to release further down the back. Lifting, flip the palms, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and a little bit of an emphasis of the elbows coming into the waist here. Once more in this direction, we'll change direction. You can start to bend the knees and we start to get that flexion down the spine, then standing tall, squeezing up, flip the palms and melt the shoulder blades back and down. The other way, so rounding back, as if you're going to dive into a pool, and then shoulders back into place, rounding forwards. Breathe in with the lift, breathe out to soften forward. Last time here, and then down. Place the hands on the tops of the shoulders, fingers wrapping around the neck, and just give it a good rub. So as the chin comes forward, the fingers go back. As we lift the head, work the fingers into the soft tissue there, draw down. Once more each way. Good. We're going to circle the hips to take the legs nice and wide. Hands on the hips, and let's draw a big circle with the pelvis on the floor. Here, hip flexors stretch. Here,
Inner thigh stretch, a little bit of release on the outer thigh maybe. As we take the hips behind you, hamstring stretch, and taking it all the way around. So let's stay in this direction for one more big circle. Here I'm tilting the pelvis, so tucking the bottom under to get the full range of movement in the hips. Let's hit one more in this direction to allow anyone who wants to lift the upper arms to get a bigger movement in the body, and then we'll take it in the other direction. Great, the opposite direction. Just feeling your way around the hip joint. Any niggles you might want to reduce the range of movement and maybe support the hips, holding, and just take a more gingerly approach to circling. So just go at your pace, but make it nice and slow, no rushing. You can add a little bit of weight to the core, more stretch in the body by lifting the arms. And let's complete that circle and then melt the shoulders down. Just a little bit of a shrug and keep the knees wide, the feet wide. Let's bend the knees and just lift one set of toes over to the other just to warm up the inner thighs. Try to think about external rotation of the hips to turning the inner thigh up to the ceiling. And the fingers, we want to find the floor. So make sure your legs are wide enough that maybe the fingers can find the floor. We're gradually straightening the legs, bowing the head, and just coming to that wide leg forward fold. Pause a moment. You can squeeze the backs of the legs to allow a little bit of softening, releasing the backs of the legs. Nice deep breath in and out of the nose, just pausing to get all those benefits of an inversion and a release stretch for the backs of the legs. We're taking a chest opening movement here now. Right hand to the floor, you can bend the knees if you need to. And I'm mirroring you. And with your left arm, we're opening like a clam up to the ceiling with a nice deep breath in. You might feel a stretch in the opposite inner thigh. And breathing out, float down, other side. Replace the hand, left hand under your nose. Breathe in and stretch open wide. And breathing out with control, lowering down. Once more each side. Can you try to think about finding space in the shoulder joints? So really reach, as if you're trying to reach something beyond the fingertips. Nice deep breath in. Spread the bones of the hand. Let's find decompression even in the hand. Last time. Right arm lifts, chest wide open. And then using the breath out, float the arm down. We're coming to a twist for the spine, so pace the hands across to that left ankle, hold wherever, and again you can soften the knees if it's a little bit tight in the backs of the legs. And as you breathe out, bow the head and allow the body to melt down. Don't forget, if this is too strong for the back of the legs, bend and straighten. Give the back of the leg a good squeeze. Sometimes we just need to coax the muscles to soften and relax. And then placing the hands across to the other ankle. Take a deep breath in and slowly use the out breath to start to melt down over the leg. No forcing. This is partly about rotation of the spine, so mobilizing the spine. And regaining that little bit of flexibility, suppleness into the back of the leg. And then placing the hands center, soften the knees, roll up through the spine, head last to come up. Press into the balls of the feet, active legs, back up to standing, and then roll the shoulders back and down. Clasp the hands behind the back as the feet come together, and get a nice squeeze between the shoulder blades, chest wide open as I counter to that forward rounding. Okay, plumb line check. Let's just have a go of walking through all of the things that we should try to remember when we're standing. So if we have the feet hip distance apart, and do make a note of where hip distance is. We are, particularly women, we tend to overestimate how wide your hips are. So toes pointing forwards, hip distance apart. Let's start with the head. If you've been working at a desk or watching TV on a device, you'll start to get this forward head carriage or tech neck. So let's adjust that chin back. And it's a sense of The earlobe's being pulled to the wall behind, not chin forwards, it's chin tucked. Puppet thread pulling you up through the crown of the head. Here, this is a much nicer balanced position for your neck, so tension can roll off the shoulders here if we position the head correctly. Let's take one roll of the shoulders forwards, up, back and down, and just allow the arms then to hang. We want to get the middle of the ear lined up with the middle of the shoulder. Now, staying there, hands on the ribs. Let's just have a review of that lateral thoracic breathing. So a nice deep breath in, feel the ribs expand in all directions and open wide. And then as you breathe out, feel everything come together and that corset muscle around your middle pulling in. Go right to the end of that exhalation, tummy bottom back to the spine. Squeeze the glutes. We naturally then come to a neutral spine. Breathe in, feel that expansion without lifting the shoulders. So that expansion wide, and then the breath out. Tummy bottom back to the spine, squeeze the glutes, find that gentle pelvic tilt, which takes out that excessive curve in the lower spine. Last one like this. Nice deep breath in. Use the breath to feel that length. Top of the head to the ceiling. And the breath out, maintain that length along the spine and the neck, but find that strong pulling, that corset, that armor around your waist pulling in. Working down the legs, keeping this pulling in of the front ribs. Pelvic tilts, so we take the strain off the hip flexors, the toes still pointing forward, squeeze the glutes. Now just a moment on the toes, lift the toes and see if you can feel a lift up the inner thigh and a lift into the pelvic floor. Spread the toes wide. Now lower the toes, trying to think about aiming for like a centimetre gap between each toe. Keep that spread and then try and feel the weight across the balls of the feet. Feel how that then activates the thigh muscles. So standing tall, long as you can be. Remember, chin back in line, pelvis tilted, spread the weight over the balls of the feet, a slight lift in the pelvic floor to give that extra length. And we're coming into a movement with the arms. As we breathe in, let's float parallel arms, palms facing up to the point where you can go without lifting the shoulders. Also going slowly enough that we don't end up sticking the bottom out. Isolating the visible movement to the arms and breathing out, floating the arms back down. Simple movement, but you can see how many muscles in the body you can use to do this really mindfully. Once more like this, and then we're coming into a full flat back fold. So really working those core muscles to keep everything else absolutely still. And breathing out, floating the arms back down. For a flat back fold, to maintain the nice line in the neck, let's link the chin and the chest. So come to these spider tip fingers, linking the chin and the chest, shoulders back and down. Squeeze the glutes. And as we fold from the hips, we maintain the same distance from the chin to the chest. So this is all just about educating us to keep a nice line in the back of the neck. Feel that spread of weight across the balls of the feet, squeeze the glutes and press away from the floor to come back up to standing. Deep breath in here, breathing out into a fold. As we're folded, try to avoid the sense of collapsing. Think about that length from the tailbone right up to the crown of the head. Feel the stretch of the backs of the legs. Feel the pulling together of the front ribs, navel to spine. Press into the floor, squeeze the glutes, back up to standing. You can increase the work here by placing the hands around the fingers around the back of the head. But then we have to be mindful as we come into the fold, the gaze and the head need to lower at the same rate as the spine. Otherwise, we're compromising the neck and we lose that long line of the spine into the neck. Another option, let's try one more here. Keeping the front ribs knitted together so that corset around the waist, strong throughout. Stretch to the backs of the legs, but think about spreading the toes. Coming up And for the last one, if you want to take it a little bit further, arms parallel by the ears. Breath in to prepare, breathing out. Think about length, expanding in all directions. The feet into the floor, the sit bones riding up the wall behind, fingers reaching the wall in front. Pull in the core, feel the pelvic floor lifting as you come up to standing. Well done. Float the arms down, have a little shrug. So we're going to find a release for the upper back. And we can do this either in a victory squat position, just so we're working the legs, or if you've got particular shoulder niggles, I'd encourage you just to do the arms, because there's a bit of a balance element to this as well. So finding a nice secure position for the feet, either parallel or take the legs wide. But let's just look at the arms first. Take a deep breath in, open the arms wide. And then your right arm, I'm mirroring you, will come in front, so the right elbow on top of the left. Think eagle arms for the yogis out there, Garudasana. Either the backs of the hands come together, or maybe the palms come together. Not important which. The main thing is this strong bind of the elbows. Now, if we start to lift the elbows up, you'll feel that stretch between the shoulder blades. Really hard to reach those rhomboids. No forcing. Try to avoid the bottom sticking out. Now, let's add on a little neck release here. So this is where it's a bit of a balance, and I'd only add on that victory squat if you feel you've got capacity. So slowly, slowly drop the chin to the chest. We're lifting the elbows up towards the forehead. So we're spreading the shoulder blades. We're letting the head drop. So we're not holding the head in place, finding a little bit of a stretch for the back of the neck. Keep reaching the fingertips up to the ceiling. So if you can see between your arms to the floor and you feel you've got your balance, we can add a little bit of work for the legs by bending the knees, making sure they're tracking over the toes, tilting the pelvis so that we maintain that neutral spine. But really the focus here is on breathing in and out of the nose, letting the shoulders relax down, but lifting the elbows and dropping the head. Take one more breath here. And then slowly, slowly release. And we take it to the other side. So your right arm was on top. We take a deep breath in. This time your left elbow on top. Backs of the hands together or palms together. We can stand in that parallel line. But find a lift in the elbows, working between the shoulder blades into that stretch. Fingertips to the ceiling. And either with your head forwards if that's better for you, or see if you can relax the jaw and just let the head drop forwards. And we're breathing into this space. So again, it can become more of a full body work if we take a little bit of a bend in the knees, but knees out wide. Let's try not to compromise this work into the shoulders. You're nearly there. It's very strenuous for the back. We think about how much time we spend rounding the back with tension. Here we're trying to reconnect with those muscles and bring back a kind of more responsive sponginess to the muscles. Amazing. And as you breathe out, slowly release the arms. Let the arms shrug out, releasing those tension from the shoulders. Really well done. We're going to take a stretch for the quads and maybe work towards the dancer, but otherwise it's a quad stretch and balancing stick. So let's first of all catch hold of your right ankle. So if you've got a wall handy, that may be helpful. Otherwise a chair. If you've got your balance, see if you can take hold of the ball of the foot in both hands. That just means that we can mirror you. Your right leg, pulling the ball of the foot up to the ceiling, the knee to the floor, opening across the chest. Here's our counter for that Garudasana, the eagle arms. By slightly tilting the pelvis, let's keep it with your right leg, tilting the pelvis, we're just giving a hip flexor release here and relieving out, hopefully, those quadriceps. And nice deep breath in and out of the nose. Start to feel the length up the spine. There's a little bit of a squeeze between the shoulder blades and that tilt in the pelvis, ironing out the crease at the top of the leg. Now we can work between foot into the bottom and taking a balancing stick or even hugging the knee into the chest, or option, palm up, placing the foot around the big toe ball of the foot and lifting what's your left arm. So if you want to take it to the next level, here we are stretching for the ceiling, knee to the floor. Otherwise, keep working on a little stretch for the front of the thigh and then a counter stretch, knee into the chest. For Noble Dancer, let's place the thumb over the front of the index nail. And we start to press the hand and the foot into the hand and pull the hand into the foot. This gives us a chest opening and finding space between the foot and the bottom. Stretching across the front of the chest, working into the glutes. So we're different levels in this class here, so don't feel you need to do all of these elements. We're just talking about nice mobilisation and flexibility in the hip. So working the knee back and forwards. We're also strengthening that standing ankle. Nearly there. Whichever you're on, just working on your dancer, an upright dancer, and then let's switch sides. Just give the hips a little bit of a sway, and let's take it to the other side. We're going to be taking your right foot up towards the bottom, your right foot, your other leg, your left. Quad stretch, hip flexor stretch, chest opener, lengthening through the spine, the neck pulling up through the crown of the head. So finding length, spreading the weight across the ball of the foot. Feel a bit of a lift in the pelvic floor and you'll automatically feel a couple of millimeters taller. Tilting the pelvis, squeeze the glutes, and then we can take the knee into the chest. Remember, if you've got a chair handy, just while we work with balance. So just taking the knee towards the wall, back behind, and up into the chest with an option to take it into the dancer. Now we ideally hold on the big toe side, because if I hold on the little toe side, I'm rounding the shoulder, and as I press back, that's increasing that internal rotation of the shoulder. So unless your wrist doesn't allow you to, try and take hold of the big toe side. Squeeze between the shoulder blades, press the foot into the hand, and maybe we can lift your opposite arm. Deep breath in. This is called Chin Mudra. So we extend your front arm. We're extending away from that center line. And remember, otherwise we're just working between this knee into the chest and foot into the bottom. Really well done. Was that hard work? Okay, let's shimmy out the legs. We're coming into a cat-cow on all fours. And then we'll take the knee into the nose, and then I've got a little core exercise for you. Right, a roll down through the spine, chin to chest. We've only got time for one, so make it a nice, easy zigzag. Support or rub the back of the body anywhere that feels a little bit tight. And then slowly bend the knees and let's come to all fours. Cat-cow, shoulders over the wrists, spread the fingers, shoulders back and down, knees and ankles at distance apart. Breathe in, exaggerate that curve in the spine, look up. Ear in the eyeballs, all the way up, stick the bottom out as if you're drawing your chest through the arms. Breath out, exhale, chin to chest, round the back, point the toes, lift the navel, spread the shoulder blades wide. Once more, breathe in and look up, working through the curves of the spine, and breath out, chin to chest, round the back, press away from the floor. Just 2 rounds with each leg. Start with your right leg, breathe in and lift the leg behind as if you're trying to touch the crown of the head. Breath out, round, knee comes right up to the nose. Use that pulling in the core to lift, empty the lungs. Last time on this leg, deep breath in, working into that curve of the spine, cow, arch of the back, and the breath out, chin to chest, and knee to forehead. Lower the knee, other side. Left leg, breathe in and arch, look up, squeeze the glutes. Breath out, rounding the back, arching cat, spine, chin to chest, knee to forehead. Last time, deep breath in and reach. And breathing out, this is the last time, then we're coming on to our backs. When you're ready, lower the knee, roll onto your backs and hug the knees into the chest. Brilliant. So when you're ready, on your backs, little rock on the spine. Let's find that imprint of the low back. Shoulders down, hands on the knees, and feet on the floor initially. Let's just take 2 pelvic tilts. Deep breath in, feel that spreading sideways of the ribs. And as you breathe out, ribs come together, tilt the pelvis and imprint the lower spine, almost lifting the sit bones off the floor. Once more, deep breath in. Breath out, imprint the lower spine without rounding the shoulders. Feel that squeeze. Cross your right knee over your left. Draw the knees into the chest, hold the head in the hands. We're taking the left elbow in an oblique twist. Deep breath in, as you breathe out, imprint the lower spine, almost lift your sit bones and take an oblique twist and hold, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, squeeze. Breathe in to lower down. 3 more on this side, breath in to prepare. Imprint the spine, lift the sit bones, and as you breathe out, left elbow across to the right, diagonally, oblique twist, hold it there, breathe out, exhale, empty the lungs, squeeze, wring out the waist, tummy bottom back to the spine. And release as you breathe in. Breathing out, tilt the pelvis, imprint the spine, and breathe out into your twist, 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 keep breathing out, no air left. Lift higher and lower down. Last time on this side. Breathe in to prepare. Breathing out into your twist. Now keep, this is the last one on this side. Wring out the waist. Make this waist the smallest it can be. Even if a little bit of shaking's fine here. Lift and twist. And release. Change the cross in your legs. Your left knee's on top. Deep breath in to prepare, imprint the spine, almost lifting the sit bones. Squeeze the legs together and breathe out. We're pausing here to empty the lungs, lift a little bit higher, squeeze everything available to you. Breathe in to lower. Tilt the pelvis, imprint the spine, breathing out, twist, lift, 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 empty the lungs, vacuum pack your core, really squeeze everything in. And lower, last 2. Breath in to prepare, imprint, tummy bottom back to the spine and lift, squeeze up. Try to lead with your opposite shoulder, that right shoulder, lifting, lift, lift, squeeze, empty the lungs. And let's take last one, fill up. Breathe out, squeeze and lift, tummy bottom back to the spine, lift, squeeze, wring out the waist, and then lower down. Take a little sway with the knees, side to side. Brilliant. Again, just a couple of side to side movements. So we're rolling across the bottom cheeks. Now going to be mean. One last one for the core. We're nearly so near the end of the class. Hands on the thighs. Shoulders back and down. Now imprint the spine and press it into the thighs. Isometrically strengthening. Now shaking the spine. Really work on imprinting that lower spine to the pelvic tilt and press. Press, press, press. Squeeze for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done. To ease out, we're just taking one knee into the chest. The other leg extends. Breathing in, breathe out and switch. Nice deep breath in to switch. Breathe out, one knee into the chest, the other extends. Breathe in and breathe out. Hamstring stretch. Left foot to the floor, right leg to the ceiling. Walk the hands up the back of the leg. And let's point the toes and curl the toes up to the face. Point and flex. Same right ankle to left thigh. Let the knee fall out. Flex the foot, thread through, and just give a little bit of a sway. Stretch, release to this right hip. You know you're through it when we're coming to the glute stretch. You're done. We've just got a hamstring stretch on the other leg. All right, gently release. Left leg to the ceiling. Point the toes. Flex, curling the toes up to the face. Point and flex. Place on the opposite knee, thigh. External rotation. Flex the foot. Thread through and take a gentle sway over to the right so that we're leaning away from the hip that we're stretching. Use your elbow to add more of an opening of the hip if you need it. Maybe a sigh of relief here. Smile, externally or internally, your choice. And then release the knee. Rock on the spine, rock like a little ball. Easing out the spine. And that, my friends, is the end.